Informational text, right? So we've been doing a lot of work as fourth graders on doing research with our animals or whatever topic you guys are you all using animals?
Yeah.
Okay, so your animal topic, as fourth graders we're using that, and it's important for us to realize that sometimes what we're doing in writing is also some things that we're going to do in reading, because reading and writing is called English language arts, and they kind of go together, right? So today we're going to look at an article together. And this is something my kids are going to get online as well, so it'll be the same thing. This one's called When Lightning Strikes, okay? And it's a pretty cool article, actually. It talks about lightning. And then we're going to do some practice with using textual evidence to answer questions. So here in a second, you're going to get this. And what do you think the first thing is that you should do when you get a paper? Something really simple. What? Write your name at the top. That way if it gets on the paper, or on the paper, gets on the paper, that's hilarious. Gets on the floor, somebody knows whose it is to pick it up. I am going to ask that you get it when you first get it. Go ahead and write your name on it, and then you can look at it. You can kind of glance over it, the picture on it, the headings and whatnot. If you want to start reading it, you can, but you don't have to. Okay? Everybody understand? So you put your name on it. And then you're kind of looking at it quietly for a second until everybody has one. There's yours. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you hand everybody one of those. There you go. You guys all kind of. There you go. Thank you. Put your name. Putting your name on a paper and looking at a piece of paper doesn't require talking. Last time I checked. Alright. Do you guys have numbers in here or just names? No numbers? The same? Okay. Alright, there you go. Thank you. Alright. So first thing we're going to talk about is our objective for today. So what is...
I didn't change it, sorry.
You're fine. I'm going to use this space right here, if that's okay. So what are we doing? What did I just describe? What are we doing today? So start your sentence with I can. So by the end of our time together, what are we going to do? Or you can just tell me what we're doing. Yeah, go ahead. What?
Reading.
We're reading. Okay, reading is definitely going to be in our objective. So I can. I'm not necessarily going to write the word reading yet, but reading is going to be in there. What are we going to do? What did I say specifically we're going to do? Look at my anchor chart here. Like, what do you think? Go ahead.
A what chart?
Sorry?
A what chart?
Say it again, babe.
A what chart?
A what chart? A what chart?
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
What?
Oh, like what? What is in the text is what you mean?
Yeah, what is it?
Oh, okay. Well, this is a chart where you mean like a KW, like what you know chart? Is that what you're talking about?
No, like the chart that you just said. Like that thing chart.
Oh, this is an anchor chart. So I'm saying you can look here and see what's on here. What do you think we're going to do today?
Oh, I know.
Go ahead.
We're going to learn about lightning.
Okay, so we're definitely going to be learning about lightning. What do you think we're going to, how are we going to learn about lightning? Or what are we going to do with that? Go ahead. Oh, she is on it. I can use text evidence. She said it perfectly. I can use text evidence to, what did you end your sentence with? Prove your answer. So I'm going to change a little bit, but prove your, I'm going to call it conclusion. It's a fancier word for answer, but that's okay. So I know I didn't write the word reading, but do you think that this involves reading to use text evidence? What's the word text mean? Yeah?
Like it means like the story or like the like.
Point to the text. What is the text? It's this, right? It's all of this. The text is just the words on the piece of paper. That's that. It's just a fancy word for saying words. Okay? But text is organized words. So it's not just mumbled, jumbled up words. It's words that are organized into a thought. And that's when it becomes text instead of words. So it's important to do exactly what she just said and use textual evidence to prove your answer. So today, you're going to get some questions, and what do you think you're going to have to do with those questions? Not just answer them. What do you think you're going to have to do with them based off of what we just talked about? Go ahead.
Highlight or underline?
Well, there's the strategy we're going to use. What are we going to do with the questions? What are we going to have to use? The text evidence. You guys already know the lesson, and I haven't even taught it yet. You guys are awesome. So, I wanted to go over a couple things with you, and I'm going to leave this anchor chart in here with your teacher. But you use the text to prove your answer to a question, and sometimes, and you guys notice how I came out of the box here? There's a reason for that. I didn't do it on purpose, or I didn't do it on accident, because I would remake the whole anchor chart if I did it on accident. Why would I put that outside of the box? Sometimes the author does not answer the question. What do you think? Go ahead.
Maybe it's because it wasn't like actual the actual thing. It was just like stuff that wasn't supposed to be there, like something that
Something that's not right in front of your face?
yeah.
Yes, you're exactly right. So it does not answer the question directly. So you have to use the clues from the text to solve the case, basically. We're looking at this like you're trying to solve a case. So the whole point of drawing conclusions in informational text is so that you're not just looking for an answer that's direct, right? You're in 4th grade. Answers are not going to be right in front of your face now. So what you're going to have to start doing is using clues from the text to come up with the answer. And your answer is the answer, right? So on the next paper I'm going to give you, it's going to have some questions. And some of them are going to be really easy, and some of them aren't. And some of the questions you might experience might be multiple choice. And then at the end of it, on question 8, 9, and 10, it's what we call an open or a constructed response. And that's where you write your answer on the paper. You guys have seen those before, right? Yeah. Ooh, you guys are asleep. You need to wake up. Pay attention. Alright, so some of the strategies that you can use when you are looking at multiple choice is something like highlighting or underlining. How many of you have ever highlighted or underlined evidence in the text? That's fantastic. So you can underline words, you can underline phrases or sentences. But my question is are you just underlining and highlighting everything on the paper?
No.
What are you underlining and highlighting specifically? Your proof of your answer, right? And then out to the side, you're taking a pencil and you're saying, this goes with blah, blah, blah question, right? So that way when you go back or you pick it up again, you know exactly where you got that answer from. Also, it helps teachers like me and Ms. Randolph know, well, if they misunderstood this is why, because they were using this evidence and it doesn't really go with it. Whereas if you just put an answer down, sometimes we either think they just made it up or they looked at different paper. But if you're actually going in and highlighting in the text, then we'll know.
Oh, I haven't heard those phrases. I like it. It does work really
Yeah.
well. Sorry. I need Alyssa again, Evelette, and Caitlin.
All right. Go, 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 go.
Unless are they doing something they need to say?
It's okay.
Okay.
All right. So then we're going to do that. So that's great that a lot of you raised your hands because that means you're already halfway there with your strategies. Then the next one says sometimes you need to find clues or keywords. This is what Russell was just talking about. Or keywords in more than one spot. So sometimes it's not right there in front of your face. Sometimes you have to think outside the box. And sometimes you have to find it in more than one spot. That goes with like the lessons you guys just did in reading a couple weeks ago. You're talking about like character traits. And we talked a lot about, at least with my class, we talked a lot about how it can't just be something that happens one time. It has to be something that happens a lot. It's the same thing with informational text. When you're finding an answer to like a constructed response or a multiple choice, and it's sometimes you have to look for proof in multiple places. And that goes with this part. Because sometimes the question's not directly in one spot. You have to read several things in order to get your answer. Then we have the open and constructed response. What can you do to make sure you write a sentence correctly? Yeah? know because this is what happened in the text. So you can use things called sentence stems. And I'm actually going to give you some that you're going to use today. So when you get to questions 8, 9, and 10, you're going to choose one of these. And what's great about these is once you use a few of them, just pick like 2, and you can use them with any answer. So like, based on the text, can be used with any answer. You don't have to just use that with one type of answer. That's a phrase that can be used with anything. Or according to the text, blah, blah, blah. Your teacher will be so happy, I'm telling you, if you write a complete sentence with your constructed response. And if you use one of these phrases, she will be ecstatic. So when you go to questions 8, 9, and 10, and one of them says, define lightning, we can start with, according to the text, lightning is blah, 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 right? Probably don't put blah, blah, blah. But you can use these sentence stems to help you write a complete sentence, and it's super easy. So you can take the text, connect it with one of these, and bam, you've impressed your teacher. Okay? You've done something that you need to learn how to do for real life. Talk in a complete sentence, write in a complete sentence. Okay? Also, I find that when I use these sentence stems, I notice that I look for the answer in the text. If I don't start with I know because, or according to the text, or on the page, or on page blank, it says, if I don't start with one of those sentence stems, then I actually do a worse job of actually finding that evidence. When I start with one of these, I know I have to find it in the text because I can't, it wouldn't make any sense to say, in the text it says, and then it not come from the text. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay? So before I hand this out, I'm going to say one more thing. A lot of you know information about a lot of things, right? I know this from being in your room a few times already. You guys know information about a lot of things. But even if you know all there is to know about lightning, should you just not look at the text? Should you look at the text? Yes. Why? Why is it so important to look at the text? Even if I'm an expert on lightning, why would I need to look at the text to answer these questions? But I don't know your name, sorry. Go ahead.
You would still look at the text because you can never be sure that you know everything about something.
That's exactly right. You are never sure that you are exactly right about anything. You can't throw stones at glass houses. So it's important for you to know that you don't know everything. I don't know everything. Ms. Bruno, she knows a lot of stuff. She doesn't know everything, right? And so even we, if I had to answer the questions on here, I would not be able to, as an adult who's studied and even taught a lot about lightning, I would not be able to answer all these questions because text is written differently by different authors. And so whenever you're being asked to actually go back into the text and find evidence, it is super important that you actually read the text or actually look in the text. Okay? All right. So I'm going to give you these questions, and what do you think you're going to do first with it? Go ahead, anybody. Put your name on it. That's right. You know, it's so funny. Like, yeah, I have to say that, but oh my gosh. I don't know how many times I find papers on the floor and no names. Okay, put your name on it. And then I want you to look at the first question. What kind of question is that? Is it multiple choice or is it constructed response? Here you go, babe. Is it multiple choice or constructed response? Look at the very first question. Multiple choice or constructed response?
That
Go
needs
ahead.
to, you need to put
What do
that
you
to the
say?
side and put that in front of you.
What is it? It's multiple choice. You have multiple choices. That's called a multiple choice question. So look at the strategies up there. Sorry if they're kind of small. What are the 2 options? Or 3 options? 2 or 3. What's an option that you could use or a strategy you could use to find the key word or to find information in the text or evidence in the text? Go ahead.
Highlight or underline?
Just one. Which one do you want to use?
Highlight.
Highlight. Okay. Can you highlight when you're on the computer?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. So almost everything that Ms. Randolph will probably assign you, whether it's like UCLA or ReadWorks, all of those programs, Epic even, they have pens on the computer where you can click on it. I can show you guys if you need me to because I teach virtual and these are the things I discover. But there's actually ways to use a highlighting tool on every one of them. So, and when you're doing like the evaluate, I believe the evaluate has a highlighting tool. Yes? And let's see. Evaluate has a highlighting tool. Math test definitely has a highlighting tool. Pretty much anything you do on the computer is doable. Or even underlined. So, I don't know if you have highlighters, but if you don't, then what method are we going to have to use? Underlining, and that's perfectly fine. Alright, so let's talk about that first question. I want to talk about one more thing before I let you try this out on your own. It says, what is the golden rule of lightning safety? What in that question is a little different than what a word or a phrase that's used that's a little different than what you're used to? Like what? I'm definitely used to the word what, right? Safety, we've heard safety a lot. What is a phrase in there that maybe you're not familiar with? Go ahead.
Golden rule.
Golden rule. So everybody, circle the word or the phrase golden rule and number 1. See where it says number 1 in the question? It says golden rule. This is called, and it's not on this anchor chart here, but this is where we're sticking to our objective. We're still looking for text evidence and we still want to draw a conclusion. But this is a little trick. I was a very low reader in school. I was not a strong reader, and I'm still not really that strong of a reader, to be perfectly honest. I have to read things 3 or 4 times as an adult to understand it sometimes. But the more I read, the better I get, right? But I'm going to teach you a little secret. Even if you don't know how to read this whole passage you have in front of you, you can use things like this strategy I'm about to talk to you about as a way to find an answer. So, a little trick. When you're asked a question, find the phrase that looks a little different. So golden rule is definitely a phrase that looks a little different. Now I want you to put the text right next to your question. So your text should be here and your question should be here. Russell? Questions here and text here. Did you put your text in front of you? Did you circle golden rule? Yes, DJ, good job. Alright, where's your text? You don't have the text? Oh, sorry.
What's the name of this character?
I was wondering how I had one left.
On the club and I'm
There you go.
characters.
Alright, so now what do you think I'm going to have you do in the text? Based off of some hints. Yeah.
Look at the text.
Look at the text to do what? What do you think I want you to find?
Explain your answer.
Well, I want you to explain your answer, but what do I want you to find? I want you to find golden rule. I want you to find that key word. So, do you have to read the entire text to find the word golden rule? It's a secret, guys. Don't tell anybody. You don't have to read the whole text. Just go find the word golden rule. Go find it. And then I want you to circle it. And then I want you to underline the sentence that it's in. Russell, find golden rule for me in the text. I'm teaching you guys a secret. No, in the text in here. Can you find the word golden rule?
Your voice is coming from that box.
It's my freedom's been using this all the time. You just now noticed that's where it's coming from? It's coming from above. You probably goes home at night and hears it. Okay, so golden rule. Whoop, that's how everybody find it.
I
When you
can't
find
find
it, give me
it
a thumbs
yet.
up.
Okay, hold on.
You're looking for the phrase golden rule. If there's somebody at your pod that
Found
has
it.
not found it, kind of hold your paper up and point so they see where it's at. So you have a friend here who's not paying any attention.
Right here.
Hello. Did you find golden rule? Fine, help them out. You don't need to touch their paper. You don't need to just point. She found it. Everybody over here find it?
No.
You find it? Did you find it?
Well, she's
Okay.
on this paper.
I don't know if you found it if your finger's not up. I think I gave you all
Ah, golden rule.
There you go.
We find it.